Mario Strikers Battle League is a fantastic casual football game that offers disappointingly little for single players and a shallow roster. From a gameplay perspective, Mario Strikers Battle League is so consistently fun that we wish there was just a bit more to do with it as a single player. While the online offering is great and the 8-player couch co-op is going to make for some amazing nights in, if like us you've accumulated an army of Joy-Cons, if you're picking up the game to play alone, you may be shocked at how quickly you're finished with the game's single player content. The single player offering outside of playing one-off games against the AI are the various tournaments in the game. In each of these tournaments you'll play against teams that specialise in the theme of the tournament, be that players that are fast, players that are good at passing, or players that are strong. However, each of these tournaments is only 3 games and they can be completed in around 15 minutes. So we found ourselves finishing all of them in an afternoon, after which there's very little replayability. The AI is incredibly simple, there's no way to increase difficulty until late in the game, the entire gear system feels irrelevant because every character feels like they can do just about everything as well as each other. We managed to get through multiple tournaments by simply hitting the perfectly timed shot from the halfway line. If it didn't go in, our teammate would be right at the box for a tap in. The keepers are incredible at stopping the first shot, but they're useless when it comes to actually holding the ball. So we ended up winning matches by 7 or 8 goals, most of which were our strikers sliding in to tidy up a Bowser howitzer of a shot that's palmed away by the keeper. There is a problem in Mario Strikers Battle League where every match feels exactly the same. The small number of characters means that teams are often made up with the same or similar combinations, and there's disappointingly little variety. Hyper Strikes are the big new addition to Mario Strikers Battle League. At random points during the match, a glowing orb will land on the field, and the first team to grab it will be able to use their Hyper Strike. By holding down the shoot button while carrying this orb, the player will be faced with a small minigame which will determine the power of their Hyper Strike. Time it correctly, it is unsavable, awarding your team 2 goals instead of 1. Yes, the Hyper Strikes do look cool, but there's only one animation for each character, meaning when you've seen it once, it's more of a time waster than a compelling moment in the game. It feels like it needs to be about half as long, or the animation needs to be skippable. The game needs more of plenty of things, but we think new Hyper Strike animations need to be at the top of that list. The football itself has a lot of depth, with shooting, passing and tackling each having various states of power depending on how long you hold down the corresponding buttons. A perfect version of these moves can be executed if you time it correctly. This is really effective, especially against goalkeepers who seem to absolutely crumble at the sight of a perfect shot. These are not that difficult to pull off, meaning that local matches turn into an absolute goal fest. However, the defending can be fairly strategic. The AI defenders are often better than FIFA in the sense that they actually try to intercept passes rather than just watch the ball dance away from them. But there's an easy workaround. Don't pass. Genuinely, we found that we were very rarely dispossessed if we just ran up and down the field. This may be due to the fact that tackles are rather slow to execute. The game does try to make up for this by making it so that a fully charged tackle crosses multiple fields, postcodes and continents, but if you've aimed it in the wrong direction you'll be out of action for a while. But just as crucially as the game having depth in its gameplay, it's also really fun to pick up and play for the first time. Where most football games require you to learn an endless combination of buttons and manage 10 different outfielders at once, the pick up and play element that's key to the best Mario sports titles is present here. It's a lot of fun if you've never touched a football game before, or if you've spent thousands of hours with one. The online offering, which is called Strikers Club, is a bit like pro clubs from the FIFA series, in the sense that you join a team and participate in season matches as part of the same club. There's a fair amount of customization here, but again you're using the same base characters primarily, so the issue of seeing the same animations over and over persists. We think that if you can find a good group of players that are willing to stick with the game for the long haul, this could be the most rewarding mode, but that relies on having players that own the game and subscribe to Nintendo's online offering. Our limited testing, we found that there was serious input delay on certain moves, but this may be due to us playing the game in a pre-release environment. Ultimately, like many of the Mario sports games on Nintendo Switch, Mario Strikers Battle League feels like it will be an excellent single player offering in a year, once much more content is added. At the moment it's incredibly thin, and while the online modes are fun, those looking to play alone will be left wanting. The gameplay itself feels great and there's very little to complain about when it comes to the actual football, outside of the abundance of rebound goals, but it starts to feel somewhat stale when you're playing the same characters over and over. The Mario canon is filled with characters that could work well as part of the game, and we're sure they'll be eventually added, but for now it's a lot of Waluigi, which is either terrible or amazing depending on how you view the purple deviant.